What is the kingdom of God like, and what can I compare it to? A classic setup for a parable, and you don't get a single one in the book of John. And there's actually two clear reasons why that's the case. First, John is the latest of the authors. Mark puts out his gospel first, sort of like a shotgun-style, fast-paced telling of major events in Jesus' life. Then Matthew and Luke write next, borrowing from Mark and expanding the content and organizing it either thematically or chronologically. And that's something we're going to come back to in the second point. But John writes his account much later, which means that the other accounts were already in circulation. And so instead of covering the same stories, he mostly covers stories and teachings that weren't included in the other gospels. But why does John write his own gospel at all? And that's the second point. The other gospel accounts focus on teachings that show that Jesus is the Jewish Messiah, the long-awaited king. And as such, it highlights a lot of his teachings about the kingdom of God. And a lot of that teaching of the kingdom is in parables. But that point was made by the other three gospel authors, and so John doesn't need to repeat it in his gospel. He's trying to make a different point. It's a point that fills in an important gap in our understanding. Jesus is not only the Messiah, but he is also the Son of God, which is why he writes this in chapter 20. Jesus performed many other signs in the presence of his disciples, which aren't recorded in this book, but these are written, that you may believe that Jesus is the Messiah, the Son of God, and that by believing, you may have life in his name. So he documents him performing 7 signs, 8 if you count his own resurrection, in order to make a clearer case for his divine nature. Which is why you don't find Jesus saying this in the book of John.